Shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, as always, I love to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Elder Tahar and the rest of the elders that are firmly pushing this truth. And as always, peace and blessings unto the elect. All right, so I wanted to do this lesson on some history. All right, so probably title of this lesson is going to be like biblical timelines and whatnot and maps. All right, because today at camp we were going over some history, the split between the kingdom of Judah and Israel, all right, southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, all right, how some northern kingdom tribes like Issachar, all right, Zebulun, Asher, Manasseh, Ephraim, all right, you had some of them, they stayed back with Judah, all right, the southern kingdom. In the time of Hezekiah, you read that in 2 Chronicles, the 30th chapter, right, when Hezekiah called them up to keep the Passover. Okay, because you had remnants of, remnants of the northern kingdom that didn't get carried off into captivity under the Assyrians, right? So that's why, case in point, when you read the so-called New Testament, you have Anna. And you have Anna. It said Anna was a prophetess, and she was of the tribe of Asher, letting you know that you had remnants of the northern kingdom scattered throughout, the southern kingdom. Hence why, when you take a look at Nigeria, you have a tribe called the Yoruba tribe, which I believe Yoruba is named after Jeroboam, right? So that's what Yoruba stand for, and those, for the most part, are northern kingdom tribes, right? Now you do have Levi that is scattered in there as well, because you do have some tribe of the Yoruba. They were carried off into Haiti as slaves, so some of them are actually Levites as well. Yeah, so we were just going into some history, at camp, going into it, and it's always been on my spirit to look at when the northern kingdom got carried away captive. What year? So I looked at some biblical timelines, right? I got 4 pulled up, and they all saying the same thing for the most part, right? Around 700, late 700 BC, which this is Bible Hub timeline, which I go to Bible Hub sometimes. Bible Hub is cool, right? And Israel led into captivity. Well, first and foremost, you got Hosea. You got Hosea, the king, or the last king of Israel, 2 Kings 17, and he became king 3 years before him and the rest of the northern kingdom, or the remnant of or some of the northern kingdom, got carried off into captivity. So that was 722 BC. Oh yeah, and just another point I wanted to make, which I made it at camp, because like I said, you had a remnant of the northern kingdom that didn't get carried off into captivity, and you also had a remnant of the southern kingdom that weren't carried off into the Babylonian captivity. Some of them were left for vine dressers, right, and some of them were left because they were just poor, right? You read that in the history. And I say that to say this, because you still got brothers, right, in the truth, that, which, for the most part they're right, but on the second hand, that's not true, and it can also be offensive, right, for a brother like me, considering that my people, my dad's side of the family, which that's how you determine if you're Israelite or not, your patrilineage, your through your father's side, right? You will have brothers that will say, yeah, man, you had those Hamites, right? Those stinking Hamites that sold our people into slavery. It wasn't just the Hamites that was selling Israelites into slavery. You also had Israelites selling other Israelites into slavery, right? You had tribal wars that was going on. And those tribal wars were Israel versus Israel. Okay? You think thousands of years down the line in the west shores of Africa, we were looking at each other as brothers? We done already lost our nationality. Same thing with the Northern Kingdom. You watch that movie, Apocalypto, and you will see that they were having tribal wars amongst each other, but they were of the Northern Kingdom still, right? Exactly. So brothers got to stop saying that. Israelites were also selling other Israelites as well into captivity. Not every single Israelite that was in West Africa got on a boat and went into the Americas as slaves. So brothers got to stop saying that, man. All right, because I'm clearly not no fucking Hamite. All right, I'm an Israelite, right, of the tribe of Levi. So, on another note, so you got 722 BC, right, where when the Northern Kingdom got carried off into captivity. Now, the reason why I got multiple sources is because just to prove, the consistency. All right, because when you read in the law, Deuteronomy 19:15, it says, "One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, and any sin that sinneth at the mouth of two witnesses, or at the mouth of three witnesses, shall the matter be established." See that? So I found consistency within the date, so that's what I'm just going to go with. Right, it was 722 BC, roughly. All right, roughly 722 BC. Now, if others says 720, 721, 723, I wouldn't be mad at that. Right, that's close. All right, because everything is not just going to be on point. So if you're looking for everything to be on point, it's not going to be on point. So I wouldn't be mad if some said 723, 720, 722 is roughly around the same time, right? So now you have this timeline, amazing BibleTimeline.com, right? So you see how right here it says the first carrying away, and it says late 700s. So the late 700 BC, right? 754 BC to 506 BC, Assyrian and Babylonian captives, right? Then you have this on Wikipedia, right? 726. This is from the year 726 to 697. Oh, by the way, the later or the lesser the number, let me say this in a way you get it. The lesser the number, that's how much later in time it was. It was different. It was different back then. The higher the number, that's the earliest. But the lower the number is the latest. That's how it was back then. I know it sounds confusing as hell, but that's how it was. So 726 BC, right? That was before 697. 697 came after 726. That's how they were recording time back then. And as you can see, you had a lot of prophets on the scene, right? You had a lot of prophets on the scene. Hosea, Jonah, Amos, Isaiah, Micah, Joel, around that time frame. Right, so you see here, it says 725 to 722. Shalmaneser the fifth, king of Assyria, came against Hosea, king of Israel, who reigned 730 to 721, and besieged Samaria 3 years. 725, and that was when Hosea the king, or Hosea became a king, to 722. That's when the Northern Kingdom again got carried off into captivity. Now I'm on here, worldhistory.org. Right, I'm going to start here. It says, the kingdom split in two following the death of King Solomon. And the split they have from 965 to 931 BCE. Right, with the kingdom of Israel to the north and Judah to the south. It says in 722 BCE, the northern kingdom was destroyed by the Syrians and the population deported as per Assyrian military policy, resulting in the so-called Lost 10 Tribes of Israel. Now, the Lost 10 Tribes of Israel, the reason why they were lost, so to speak, that was because, pursuant to 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter, right, they went into another land where never mankind dwelt, which is dealing with America, right? Northern and South America. Although you had people that were coming over here, example, King Solomon's Navy, right? King Solomon's Navy, they were coming over here and they were getting gold, and all type of different resources as well, right? Now, when you do your studies, all right, scholars also mention how Egyptian mummies, they were found in Egyptian mummies cocaine, which the cocaine plant was only being grown over here in the shores of America, right? Showing you how fruitful America was before Esau, came here and completely destroyed it. Because when you read Joel the second chapter actually calls this land the land of Eden. All right, Joel 2 and 3, which this is a future prophecy of the missiles. This is a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. You see that? Which when you go into the word for Eden, it's the Hebrew word Idan, which means paradise. Right? Because America was real fruitful. This land was actually called the land of Ophir, which means land of gold. Because I had did a lesson on it a while ago, maybe about 2 months ago. King Solomon gold mine. King Solomon gold mine was actually linked to ancient Peru. So when Solomon's Navy, which were Canaanites, when Solomon's Navy was coming over here to America, which was aka the land of Ophir or Arshareth, like how it says in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, they were getting gold and bringing it back over there to Solomon, right? It's here in Kings somewhere. First Kings like 10 as well. Let me go ahead and get it. Right. Yep. So First Kings. Here we go. First Kings 10. And also it took them 3 years too, which is a year and a half there and a year and a half back, which links up with 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. First Kings 10. And let me see. That wasn't it. Yep, here we go. All right, so this is 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 21. I'm going to start verse 11, then I'm going to jump down. 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 11. It says, I'm going to start verse 10. It says, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold and of spices very great store and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the navy also of Hiram, which Hiram was a Canaanite, and that was King Solomon's navy, that brought gold from Ophir, which Ophir is dealing with America, brought in from Ophir great plenty of almond trees and precious stones. And the king made of the almond trees pillars for the house of the Most High, Yahweh, and for the king's house, harps, and also psalteries for singers. There came no such almond trees, nor was seen unto this day. Jumping down to verse 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. Verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tharsis with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tharsis, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. You see that? So they were bringing all types of stuff from America, because America was a real fruitful land before this devil destroyed it. And that's why this devil is going to be destroyed. Destroy them that destroyed the earth. That's Revelation 11. So it says the king had the king had a fleet of trading ships that sailed with Hiram's fleet, Once every 3 years, the ships return, loaded with gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. Right, and that links up with 2 Ezra 13. Right, in verse, I'm gonna jump down to verse real quick, verse 45, and then I'm gonna jump back up to verse 40. Right, it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, dealing with America, namely of a year and a half. See, a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsharith. You see that? Now, you have dumb motherfuckers that will say Arsharith is dealing with Africa. It doesn't take you a year and a half to get to Africa, you dumb idiots. It doesn't take you that long. Israel was scattering to Africa like it was in shit all the time. You think it took them a year and a half to get there? You can walk to Africa from Israel, you idiots. So it says that it was a great way to go. Africa's not a great way to go from Israel, you dumb idiots. How retarded can you be? It says it was a great way to go, meaning what? It was a good journey. Comparing going to Israel to America to Israel going to Africa, man, that ain't nothing. Ain't gonna take you a year and a half to get there. Now, it took them a year and a half to get from Assyria, or the east, or from the third part of the earth over to the fourth part of the earth, which the fourth part of the earth is dealing with the Americas. Or you can easily look that up, which I'll do it because I already know. You know, Jake ain't gonna look nothing up. Fourth part. See that? Fourth part of the world, right? Automatically, what pops up? The new world, so-called, dealing with America. See that? The fourth part of the world is a book, The Race to the Ends of the Earth, and the epic story of the map that gave America its name. See that? The fourth part of the earth is dealing with America. Let's go ahead and get that. Revelation 6 and verse 8. It says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. It's dealing with Esau, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, dealing with America, because you have 3 parts of the earth, right? You have Africa, Asia, Europe, right? And then the fourth part is America. To kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And that's what Esau did, right? Esau came over here, he killed with the sword, or with hunger, with death, all right, and the beasts of the earth. So that's what the fourth part of the earth is. The fourth part of the earth is dealing with America. And it took King Solomon's navy to get to America and back. It took 3 years. Do the math, right? And now the reason why it says nobody dwelt here is because nobody was living here. People were coming here. People had knowledge. People had knowledge of this place, right? And of course, a place like this is going to be the talk of the town. So more than likely, that's how Northern Kingdom heard of this place. Probably through the Canaanites, or, you know, through Israelites. You're like, yo, them Canaanites, man, they be going to this place called Arsharith, all right, or the land of Ophir. Or they be going there getting gold, X, Y, and Z. You already know how Israel talk. Word got out, and one of them was like, yo. You know what? Remember that spot? You know, they were getting all the gold from. Oh yeah, let's go there. So that's more than likely, you know, how they went there, because they heard of it. All right, this was a popping land, a popping land full of natural resources. Like I said before, Esau destroyed it. That's why the scholars, they linked Solomon's gold mine to Peru, right, to South America. Hey, cause them Asherites, man, they had a lot of gold. Hey, the Northern Kingdom, they had a lot of gold, and Esau came and stole it. All right, they were rich, man. They had beautiful kingdoms over here, right? So now let me jump up, okay, to verse 40. But let me get this real quick. All right, just going back to this timeline, right? So remember, it was around 722 BC, right, when the northern kingdom got carried away captive, which the last king of the northern kingdom officially was Hosea the king, right? 2 Kings 17:1, it says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, which that's Hawashai in the Hebrew, Hawashai. Let me go ahead and just fact check that. Going to the Hebrew. Going to the Hebrew. Yup, here we go. All right, that's the Ha, that's the Wa, that's the Sha, and that's the I. See that? Ha, Wa, Shai, which means what? Deliverer, right? So I got to know some of the Hebrew as well. See that? Ha, Wa, Shai, which means deliverer or savior. See that? Salvation. See that? Family, name of Joshua, the son of Nun, which Joshua name was Yahawashai. Yahawashai. Originally it was Hawashai, but then Moses added the Yahawashai. So Joshua and Yahawashai has the same name. Sometimes when you read in the New Testament, right, like in the book of Acts, right, Acts the 7th chapter, it actually calls Joshua Jesus, so-called Jesus, right? Oh, Salak, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to type in Acts 7. Acts 7. See, and this is what we do. We edify, man. All right, we just don't talk about the black woman all day. We go into different things, right? Because a lot of people don't know this. Like I was going into yesterday about building a strong foundation, right? If you ask a lot of people, man, they won't know this through the spirit, you know. So Acts 7, and here we go. Acts 7:45. I'm sorry, verse 44. It says, our fathers had the tabernacle witness in the wilderness, right? So this is dealing with the wilderness, as he appointed, speaking unto Moses, that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus or Joshua or Yahushua into the possession of the Gentiles, which is the land of Canaan, whom the Heavenly Father drave out before the face of our fathers until the days of David. You see that? So you see how they called Joshua Jesus, because that's intertwined. All right, that's one and the same right there. Right? So this is in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hawashai, or Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Salmanassar. We know, according to scholars, this was Salmanassar the fifth, right? Because Nebuchadnezzar, Salmanassar, Darius, right? Those were basically like titles. Everybody had those, basically like president. Or okay, basically like president, right? All right, you done had Alexander the Great, right? When you actually look him up, he's actually Alexander the Third. He was the third Alexander, and he wasn't named after his father. His father's name was Philip. See that? So it says, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. Right now, jumping down to verse 6, it says, in the 9th year of Hosea, king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in harbor by the river of Gozan and in the city of the Medes. You see that? So 3 years after he was king, they got taken into captivity. Why? Because they were going off. And this lines right up with 2 Ezra 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. That's right. And that's why you see ancient depictions of the Aztecs, Mayans, the Incas, other indigenous Americans having fringes on, right? You go into the history, different scholars, people that traded amongst them, said that their culture was similar of the Jewish people. Why? Because they were the people of the East, right? They were the languages can be traced back to the Hebrew, right? Because they're Israelites. They came over here to attempt to keep some of the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Verse 43, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arshereth. Verse 46, then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. You see that? So then dwelt there until the latter time, and to this day they're still here, right? So this goes right with 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. So if you want to know when the northern kingdom got carried over into captivity, 2 Kings 17. Right? And that was around the year 722 BC, which that's what it's real consistent. That's what everybody's saying. 722 BC. That's when they got carried off. Now, when they came to America, I don't know. I'm not sure how long they were in the Assyrian captivity for. Right now, you can read Israel. You can read about the Assyrian captivity, which it has listed here. All right, you can go ahead and read Tobit, right? You can read it. You can read Tobit. You can read Judith, right? Let's go ahead and check it out. Which I read those books. Those are great books, right? Because you had Tobit, which was of the tribe of Naphtali. Tobit, the first chapter. Right? It says, Tobit 101, it says, the book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobil, the son of Ananiel, the son of Adul, the son of Gabael, of the seed of Aziel, of the tribe of Naphtali. See, that's what they were, of the tribe of Naphtali. It says, who in the time of Anamesar, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of Thebes, which is at the right hand of that city, which is probably called Naphtali and Galilee above Asher. I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the ways of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation, whom came with me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians. See that? So that means that Tobit was around that time. So that means Tobit was back there. All right, more than likely in the time of Kings, right? In the time of Kings, Tobit was actually back there and was carried off into captivity, probably as a child, more than likely as a child. Yeah, Tobit had to have been around this time. Let's see. Let's type in Tobit Bible. Let's see what this says. Tobit, when was he around? Let me see. Let me see. Alright, so Tobit, a devout and wealthy Israelite, living among the captives, deported to Nineveh from the northern kingdom of Israel. And so, yeah, see, that's 722, 721. So Tobit was around that time period. Yep. And so, that's the history. Yahweh Tazah, you few brothers and sisters were edified. Till next time, I say Shalom.